Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be showing you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. Today's video is also a collaboration with Taylor Elmore. I'm sure you're already familiar with her, but if not, I'll have her channel linked in my description box below. So as soon as you're done watching my video, make sure you head over to her channel, show her some love, and let her know that I sent you. I absolutely love Taylor's videos. She's a super sweet person. She's one of the YouTubers that inspired me to start my own channel. So we do similar content. She does grocery hauls, other types of hauls, like she'll do a thrift store haul every once in a while, day in the life videos, and of course she does weekly What's for Dinner videos. So like I said, I know you'll love her. She's a wife and a mama to two. She does homeschool her littles. So again, check out her video down below. For dinner this first night, I made barbecue ranch chicken tacos. I've made this one other time before. It's been a while though, so I wanted to share it again. I saw this on Kat's channel, Southern Farming Kitchen. I'll have it linked down below. This is such an easy dinner to put together, so let me show you how to do it. First up, in this crock pot liner, I've sprayed it with a little bit of cooking spray. I'm going to add in a couple of chicken breasts. And then you don't have to do this next step. I don't believe Kat did, but I like to season it with some barbecue seasoning. I'm using this Kinder's barbecue blend. So I'm just going to season my chicken and then add in some dry ranch dressing mix. And then flip the chicken over and season the other side again with the barbecue seasoning and the ranch dressing mix. Next, we're going to add some barbecue sauce. Use your favorite, or you could even do homemade. I'm using the Sweet Baby Ray's, and then that's it. Like I said, this is really easy and quick to put together. I'm going to cover this with a lid. You could cook this on low all day, or I believe I cooked this on high for about 4 hours. You just want to cook it until your chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature, and it's nice and tender. This is what it looked like once it was done, and at this point, you can remove it if you'd like and shred it with some forks. Put it in a stand mixer and shred it up. I just used one of the meat choppers and took that while the chicken was still in the crock pot to break it up. To go along with the tacos, I'm making some Copycat Taco Bell cheesy Fiesta potatoes. Now, I've shared this many times before on my channel, but I wanted to share it again because I've had several people ask how I make these. There are many different recipes, on Pinterest or online for this, but I like this recipe because it's really easy and because you don't have to deep fry the potatoes. I personally don't fry a lot, so I like that this recipe doesn't call for you to fry them, and to me, it tastes just like the ones at Taco Bell. So here's what we're going to use for them. You'll need some russet potatoes. I've washed these really well. Use some kind of oil, and then we need some taco seasoning and some seasoned salt. I cubed the potatoes. Now you can peel them if you'd like. I just leave the peels on. Then I drizzled them with some of the oil, added the taco seasoning and the seasoned salt, and stirred them together until they were well mixed. Now you can bake these in the oven. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I air fry them. Today I was in an air fryer mood, so I put them into my air fryer basket. I cooked them at 400 degrees for about 8 or 9 minutes, gave it a little shake, and cooked them for another maybe 8 to 10 minutes or so. Just depends on how large you cut your potatoes and how crispy you want them. So to top off the potatoes, we're going to need some sour cream. You could also do Greek yogurt. And then for the cheddar cheese sauce, I like to use the Fritos cheese sauce, but you could use whatever one you prefer, what you've got on hand. And then way back in the day, Taco Bell used to add green onions to their cheesy Fiesta potatoes. They stopped doing it though years ago, but I still like it, so I like to add on green onions to mine when I make them at home. Kat suggested serving these tacos with some cooked and crumbled bacon and shredded cheese, so I've got that. I'm also going to use some chopped tomatoes and zesty ranch sauce. I would have also used lettuce, but I didn't have any on hand. So here are the plates. I just warmed up the tortillas on top of the stove, added the barbecue ranch chicken and some of the toppings, and we've got our potatoes, and this was delicious. So yummy, so easy. And that barbecue ranch chicken, if you've got any leftovers, you could serve them on a bun or slider buns as sandwiches. You could do a barbecue ranch chicken pizza or nachos. There are lots of great uses for that chicken. This next night, we did a yo-yo night, or you're on your own. Basically, just everybody kind of fends for themselves and finds what they want for dinner. So my husband was working late this evening, and he wasn't really hungry at dinner time. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I was digging through the pantry and freezer to come up with something for dinner, and just hamburger helper sounded good. I had this box in my pantry that I needed to use up, and I didn't have any like hamburger meat thawed, but I did have these frozen hamburger patties, and I thought, well, I can, it's the same thing. I can just cook that on the stove. So that's what I did. I just added those frozen hamburger patties to a skillet, broke them up, and then cooked the box according to package instructions. Just served it with some buttered bread. I didn't even feel like dealing with, any vegetables or anything. And then I had the leftovers for lunch for the next couple days. My husband doesn't love hamburger helper. Later, when he came down from working, he ate leftovers that were in the fridge, and that was our dinner this night. For dinner the next night, I made a sheet pan beef and broccoli dinner. I'll be showing you how I made this in an upcoming sheet pan dinner recipe video, so keep an eye out for that if you'd like to see how I made it. It was super quick and easy to put together. It took like 15 minutes to cook, and it was yummy. So to go along with this, I had some egg rolls in the freezer that I needed to use up, and I wanted to do a homemade sweet and sour sauce. I don't have a recipe for this. I just kind of eyeball it. I've been making it for years. I make it pretty much how my dad taught me, but I'll try to find a recipe similar to how I make it and link it in the description box below for you. Basically, all I do is combine equal parts of ketchup and sugar, and then you want to add some kind of sourness to it. I used to add lemon juice to it, but now I add rice vinegar, and then I add in just a little dash of soy sauce and simmer it until all of your sugar is dissolved. You can thin it out with a little bit of water too if you'd like to, and that's it. That's the sweet and sour sauce. To go with the beef and broccoli, I cooked up some white rice in my rice cooker, and then here are the plates. So we've got some of the rice, the sheet pan beef and broccoli. I did garnish it with some chopped green onions and sesame seeds. We've got the homemade sweet and sour sauce, and then these are I think it's pronounced Minh, the egg rolls from Sam's Club. I didn't get a picture of it. I'm sorry, the egg rolls weren't in the original packaging, but like I said, I get those at Sam's Club, and this dinner was delicious. So good. For dinner the next night, it was off of meal plan, but to be honest, I just did not feel like cooking. Gary was at the gym during dinner time, and so I just decided to make myself some toast and eggs real quick. Just scrambled up a couple eggs, and then I mentioned this before on my channel, but like my favorite breakfast, and even going back to when I was a kid, is just like a peanut butter and jelly toasted sandwich. So I just toast up the bread in the toaster, and then to one slice, I like to add a little creamy peanut butter, a little crunchy, and then my jelly, and put it together like a sandwich. And then I've got some orange smiles. And when Gary got home from the gym, he wasn't super hungry, which is unusual. Usually when he gets back, he's like starving. But he wasn't really hungry this night, so he just ate some cereal, and that was our dinner. For dinner the next night, I made cheesy steak tacos. I saw these on Instagram. The lady's channel is Plated by D. I'll have it linked down in the description box below. Y'all, you've got to make these. My husband and I loved them. So we're going to start out by making the sauce, and it's really easy to put together. In this bowl here, I'm going to add in some sour cream. I would imagine you could do this with Greek yogurt if you'd prefer to do that. Next, we're going to add in some mayonnaise. Next, the fresh lime juice, and you could also use the stuff in the bottle if that's all you've got on hand. Next, I'm going to add in the chopped cilantro, the salt and pepper, and then Dee suggested adding a little bit of milk to thin this out. So I am going to add that, and not a lot, just a couple tablespoons or so is all you need. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to whisk this until it's combined really well, and then give this a taste. I know I say that a lot, but it's very true. Taste things as you go. I gave it a taste, and I felt like it needed the other half of the lime, which, doubling her recipe like I was, it would have called for the full lime, but I wasn't sure if it would need it, so I started out by adding half. But felt like it needed the rest of it. So that's pretty much it. Added the rest of the lime. This is going to go into the fridge while I make the rest of dinner. To go along with the tacos, I'm going to make some air fryer Mexican street corn. I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below that I kind of loosely followed for this. I'm going to start out by making like the spread to put on the corn. So in this bowl, I'm going to add in some sour cream. You could use Mexican crema. That'd be more traditional, but all I had on hand was the sour cream. Next, I'm going to add in the mayonnaise. Now for the cheese, of course, cotija would be more traditional, but my Walmart doesn't carry it, and I had feta on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. I've also seen recipes say that you can substitute Parmesan cheese as well. So I'm going to add that, and next for the spices, I'm going to use some smoked paprika, chili powder, and garlic powder. Next comes the chopped cilantro. And then I like to add a little bit of fresh lime juice to the actual cheese mixture itself, and then serve some wedges on the side to squeeze additional lime juice on it. So that's pretty much it. We're going to give this a stir until it's combined really well, and then I'm going to set this to the side until I'm ready to spread it on my corn. I did give this a taste. I felt like it needed just a tiny little bit of salt and pepper, so I'm adding that, and then it's ready to go. So here's my corn. I had those little frozen corn on the cobs in my freezer that really needed to be used up. So what I did was brushed the corn with some melted butter, seasoned it with some salt and pepper, placed it in my air fryer basket, and I cooked it at 370 degrees for about 7 or 8 minutes, gave it a flip, and cooked it for another maybe 7 or 8 minutes. You just want to cook it until the corn is nice and warm through and it starts to get a little bit brown. All right, so let's turn our attention to the steak. I found this carne piccata at Kroger. It also said diced taco meat. I'm going to add that to a bowl. For the seasonings, Dee suggested using adobo, which I had on hand, so I'm going to add that. And then she also suggested adding some cilantro lime seasoning. I didn't have that, so I looked up the ingredients online, and the ingredients were dried garlic, sugar, salt, onion, bell peppers, and cilantro. So I looked through my pantry and I saw this Kinder's brown sugar garlic seasoning. I thought, hey, there's the sugar and the garlic part of it. So I'm going to use that and then some dried cilantro and call it a day. So that's a tip for you. If you are cooking and you don't have an ingredient, see what you can substitute it for. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy an ingredient, just to make a recipe. I decided to add a little bit of oil to this. I'm going to stir it until it's really well mixed, and then we're ready to cook it up. I've got my cast iron skillet over about medium-high heat with some oil in it. It is like screaming hot, so I'm going to add in the steak. Now, I should have probably done this in 2 batches, but it's fine. It didn't get maybe as brown and caramelized as it could have, but it turned out all right in the end. It was delicious. So this doesn't take hardly any time at all to cook because the steak is so small. It just took a couple minutes. Once it is brown, it's ready. I'm going to remove it to a separate plate, not the same bowl that we use the raw meat to toss it in. You want to make sure you get a clean plate or bowl, but I'm going to remove the steak and then set that to the side. So for this next part, you could do it in the same cast iron skillet if you wanted to clean it out, or you could also do a griddle. I'm going to use this little square flatter skillet. I got this on Amazon. It was Tefal brand. It wasn't very expensive, but I love doing grilled sandwiches and pancakes and stuff like that on it. So this is where I knew I would love this recipe, is because these tacos are pretty much like a quesadilla and a taco got married and had a baby. So we're going to add a little bit of butter to the skillet and then add our tortilla, add on some cheese. Once the tortilla is nice and golden brown and that cheese is melted, we're going to add the steak and then fold it over. And then that's pretty much it. You could eat it right as is, but we're going to make it even yummier by adding that sauce we made earlier and some other toppings. So you could add whatever you like. I just gently pulled it apart, added some of that cilantro lime sauce, some diced tomato, and then some fresh avocado slices. You could also do lettuce, peppers, jalapenos, whatever you like. So to finish up the corn, once it was done in the air fryer, I slathered it on all sides with that mixture we made and then sprinkled it with a little bit of the extra cheese and the paprika, and that was it. Here are the plates. This was so delicious. That Mexican street corn, of course, you can grill the corn, you can cook it in the oven, however you'd prefer, but the air fryer made it super quick and easy. This was delicious. Dinner the next night was off of meal plan, but I was getting caught up on my YouTube videos, which I was so far behind in watching people's videos, just from everything happening with Grandpa and everything. I'd gotten behind, so I have no idea. I don't remember where I saw country fried steak, so if it was your video, I apologize. But somebody made it, and it just looked delicious, and I wanted it. So I decided to make this for dinner. So I'm going to start out by making the side, because that's going to take the longest. I had a box of these au gratin potatoes in my pantry that I need to use up, so I'm going to cook those according to the package instructions. And then I don't do this every time I make boxed au gratin potatoes, but I'll do it every once in a while. I decided to do it tonight. I'll also add in some shredded cheddar cheese, not a lot, maybe a fourth or a third of a cup, just a little bit to give it a little extra cheese flavor. I was out and about running errands this day, so I ran into a Dollar General store and got a package of these Tyson Country Fried Steak Patties. You can cook these any way you want. I'm going to cook them in the air fryer. And then for the gravy, again, just going for quick and easy this night, I'm using a package of this peppered gravy mix. Here's the country fried steak patties. I cooked these at about 400 degrees for maybe 5 or 6 minutes and gave them a flip, cooked them another 5 or 6 minutes. Just want to cook them until they're warm all the way through and crispy to your liking. Here's the gravy. I just cooked it according to the package instructions. And then here are the finished au gratin potatoes. I like to sprinkle a little bit of parsley flakes on top. You don't have to do that. And then here are the plates. So we've got some of the potatoes. I made green beans, and then I've got the country fried steak patties with that gravy, and this totally hit the spot. Last but not least, I'm making Copycat Cafe Rio sweet pork salads. I've shared this before on my channel. It may even have a dedicated video. I can't remember. But I wanted to share it again because it's been a while since I've made it. But also, this is a family favorite. We love this. I've been making it for years and years. As far as it being a Copycat Cafe Rio recipe, I'm not sure how spot on it is. I've never eaten at Cafe Rio before. I have heard that Cafe Rio and Costa Vida are very similar. I apologize if that offends anyone. But I've eaten at Costa Vida, and I can say this is really, really close to their sweet pork. So if you like Cafe Rio or Costa Vida or like the Tex-Mex type cuisine, I suggest you all give this a try. This is yummy. So let me show you how to put this together really quick. It's so easy. 3 ingredients. First up, you'll need some pork butt or pork shoulder. You can see I got this at a great price at Food Lion on markdown. It's been in my freezer, so I thawed it. To that, I'm going to add in my Coca-Cola. Now, if you don't want to use the regular Coca-Cola, I'm sure you could use diet. I've never tried it that way before, but I'm sure it would be just fine. And then we're going to add some barbecue sauce. Use your favorite. And then that's it. We're going to put a lid on this. You can cook this low and slow all day, or you could cook it on high for 4 to 6 hours. You just want to cook it until the pork is cooked all the way through and it's nice and tender. Here's what it looked like when it was done. Now, this was not a boneless pork butt, so there was a bone that I had to remove, and then I shredded up the pork. You could do it with a couple forks. You could do it in a stand mixer. I just took a meat chopper to the meat while it was still in the crock pot and broke it up, and then here's what it looked like when it was done. I just put the lid on it and kept it warm. While the meat was cooking, I made up the tomatillo ranch dressing. To this blender, I'm going to add in some ranch dressing. Now, I had some semi-homemade on hand. This is just the dry ranch dressing Hidden Valley mix, mixed according to the package instructions. I didn't have quite enough, though, so I added some of this bottled ranch dressing to that same jar, shook it up, and added it. To this, I'm going to add the minced garlic. And I apologize if I haven't mentioned this already, but all the recipes will be down in the description box below. Next, we're going to add the tomatillo. Now, if you've never used a tomatillo before, they look like a green tomato, but they are not a green tomato. They are part of the gooseberry family. When you see them, they'll have like this skin on the outside. You want to remove that skin, give them a wash, and then for this recipe, we're just going to kind of loosely chop them up. Next, I'm going to add in the jalapeno, and you can leave the seeds and membranes in if you prefer. Sometimes I leave them in, sometimes I take them out. I was like to the max line on this, so I went ahead and just blended that up once I added the cilantro. And then once I've done that, I'm going to add in the fresh lime juice. Now, I'm using my little personal size Ninja blender because I keep this out on the counter to do like smoothies and stuff. I halved the recipe, so this was fine. But if you're doing a full recipe, I would recommend getting like a full size blender because as you can see with this half, I was right at the max fill line. So I added in a little bit of salt to taste, gave it one final little mix, and that's it. It's ready to go. I would suggest making this at least an hour in advance to allow all the flavors to come together, but sometimes I'll make this the night before, and I like to keep this in the fridge and use it up on salads and stuff for the next couple days. Next, I'm going to make some pico de gallo. You can, of course, use store-bought to make it quick and easy. In this bowl, I've got some Roma tomatoes that I washed, dried, seeded, and diced. I've got some chopped red onion, some jalapeno that I chopped up, some cilantro, and then I'm going to add some lime juice and salt to taste, and then pop this into the fridge until I'm ready for it for dinner. Here I've got my cilantro lime rice. All I did was cook up some white rice in my rice cooker, just some water, long grain white rice, and a little bit of salt. I've also done this using brown rice before. When it's done, I add in some lime zest, lime juice, cilantro, and give it a mix, and that's it. At Cafe Rio and Costa Vida, you can get these salads in a tortilla bowl. Sometimes I make these with a tortilla, sometimes I make it without. Tonight I decided to make it with it. I'm using some tortillas, just use your favorite. And then I bought these little cups. I think I got them on Amazon. They were super cheap. All I'm going to do is place the tortilla in there and then pop this into the oven. I set the oven at about 400 degrees and cooked this for about 8 to 10 minutes until it was slightly golden brown and crispy. You could fry these, of course, or you could even buy like the store-bought shells or tostada shells. All right, so here are all the fixings for our salad. We've got the cilantro lime rice, the pico, and the dressing that I showed you earlier. I've also got some shredded lettuce. I whipped up some quick guacamole. Now, I kept this simple tonight because we already had the pico going on. I just mashed up some ripe avocados with a little bit of lime juice and salt. And then we've got some shredded cheese and then black beans that I rinsed and drained. Here are the finished salads. These are so delicious, so yummy. And we have plenty of leftovers, which is fine with us because we love making quesadillas. We'll do tacos, nachos, we'll do burrito bowls, more sweet pork salads throughout the week. This is so perfect to make for your family. Everybody can make their sweet pork salad the way that they want it. It's also great to do if you're having company or for like a birthday party or upcoming graduation party, because again, everybody can make their own. You can just set everything out and your guests can create the salads the way that they like them. All right, that is it for this week's video. I hope this gave you some dinner inspiration, gave you some new things to try. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And don't forget to go check out Taylor's video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.